Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Bowler Aerospace.
Bowler Aerospace?
Yeah, you've probably flown on one of their planes.
Oh, wow.
And not even realized it.
Really?
We're going to be taking a journey through their history from their beginnings in wartime Ediea
Wow.
all the way to their modern marvels.
I'm excited.
For this deep dive, we've got a documentary, we've got articles,
Oh, cool.
and even an aircraft list.
Nice.
So buckle up. We're going to be covering everything.
Sounds great.
From daring wartime inventions to John Bowler's
John Bowler.
personal struggles.
Wow. This is going to be good.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's rewind all the way back to 1943.
1943.
World War II is in full swing.
Yeah.
And John Bowler, the founder of Bowler Aerospace,
Right.
he decides to jump headfirst into the world of aircraft manufacturing.
During the war.
Yeah, right in the middle of it.
Wow, that's interesting.
And what's fascinating is they didn't start small.
What do you mean?
They secured a license from Boeing to build B-25 bombers.
B-25 bombers? Huh?
Yeah, that's a huge undertaking for a brand new company.
It really is.
Right. Talk about aiming high.
Yeah, they weren't messing around.
But it gets even more interesting.
More interesting. How?
They didn't just stick to building bombers.
They didn't.
No. They designed their own fighter plane. The Bowler Screecher?
The Bowler Screecher? I've never even heard of that.
I know. Most people haven't.
So what do we know about how this thing stacked up against the competition?
Well, details on the Screecher are a little bit scarce.
Okay.
But it was definitely a bold move for a company that was just starting out.
For sure.
It shows that John Bowler wasn't afraid to take risks.
He wasn't afraid to go after what he wanted.
That's right. He sounds like a real go-getter.
He does.
Okay, so the war ends,
Okay.
and Bowler Aerospace has to figure out what to do with all this aircraft building expertise
Right.
in peacetime.
Yeah, what happened next?
Well, this is where their story takes a really interesting turn.
Oh.
John Bowler, he teams up with his friend Carl Raleigh.
Carl Raleigh.
Yeah, who owns a firefighting service.
Firefighting service.
And together, they come up with this revolutionary idea.
A revolutionary idea. What is it?
What if we could drop water on wildfires?
From the air.
From the air.
Hold on. Are you saying that Bowler Aerospace
Yeah.
invented aerial firefighting?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
As we know it.
You got it.
Wow. That's amazing.
In 1948, they successfully dropped water from a modified B-25 over the Gulf of Princeton.
A modified B-25?
Yeah, they had to modify it to carry the water.
Wow, that's wild.
It was a pivotal moment. It marked the birth of a whole new way to fight wildfires.
I can only imagine what that must have been like, seeing those early water drops.
That's a great point. I wonder if there's any footage of it.
Yeah, there has to be.
Okay, so this eventually leads to the creation of Raleigh Airways.
Raleigh Airways?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was Edia's very first airline.
Edia's first airline. That's incredible.
Talk about a legacy.
Wow.
It all started with that innovative spirit.
And a willingness to try something completely new.
I love that. Okay, so they've conquered the skies in wartime.
Right.
They've revolutionized firefighting.
Yeah.
What's next for this ambitious company?
Well, the jet age is dawning,
Okay.
and Bowler Aerospace
Yeah,
is determined to be a part of it.
of course.
In 1959,
Okay.
they launched the Bowler 1660.
The 1660.
Yeah, their first commercial jetliner.
Wow.
It was designed to compete with the likes of the Boeing 707.
Hold on, are you saying they went
Yeah.
head-to-head with Boeing?
They did.
That's a pretty bold move for a company that was still relatively new to the commercial market.
It was a bold move, but they were up for the challenge.
They seem to have a knack for taking on the big guys.
They do, don't they?
So did the 1660 find success?
It did.
Oh, really?
They managed to secure orders not only from Edian Airlines,
Okay.
but also from carriers in Europe, Australia,
Oh.
and even North America.
So they were already a global player.
They were quickly establishing themselves on the world stage.
It's amazing how quickly they transitioned from wartime production to building these sophisticated commercial jets.
It's quite a feat.
What can you tell us about the design of the 1660?
Well, it was a fairly conventional design for its time, with 4 engines mounted on the wings and a spacious cabin.
Spacious cabin. Nice.
Yeah, designed for passenger comfort.
Okay.
But what set it apart was its reliability and fuel efficiency.
So they were thinking about sustainability even back then.
You got it.
It sounds like the 1660 really put them on the map.
It did.
What did they do next?
They didn't rest on their laurels.
They didn't.
No.
Okay.
Just a few years later, in 1964,
Uh-huh.
they launched the Bowler 1670.
Okay.
a larger jetliner designed for longer routes.
Got it.
This one had a more distinctive design.
Oh.
Yeah.
How so?
With its engines mounted at the rear of the fuselage and a T-shaped tail.
A T-shaped tail. Interesting.
It sparked a bit of controversy, though.
Controversy.
Yeah.
I love it. What was all the fuss about?
Well, some critics accused Bowler of copying the design of the British Vickers VC-10.
The VC-10?
Yeah, which had a similar rear engine T-tail configuration.
So it was a design debate.
Basically.
Interesting. Did this controversy affect the 1670s success?
Not really.
More.
It was still a commercially successful aircraft.
Good for them.
And it helped solidify Bowler's position as a major player in the international jetliner market.
They were really on a roll.
They were?
Okay, so they've got these successful jetliner.
Right.
But they don't stop there.
Nope.
In 1968,
Oh, yeah.
they team up with Fokker
That's correct.
to produce the Bowler 1640,
The 1640.
which was based on the Fokker F-27 friendship.
Oh, wow. Talk about a change of pace.
Right. It was a smart move.
It was.
By partnering with Fokker, they were able to offer a regional airliner based on a proven design, which allowed them to tap into a new segment of the market.
Makes sense.
It's like they were always looking for ways to diversify and expand their reach.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Me too. What came after the 1640?
Well, this is where they really hit their stride.
Oh.
In the 1970s,
Okay.
they launched the Bowler 800 series,
The 800 series.
which would become their most successful aircraft ever.
Most successful?
It was a long-range, wide-body trijet,
A trijet.
meaning it had 3 engines,
Oh, okay.
and it offered a combination of comfort, efficiency, and range that was unmatched at the time.
So they're thinking ahead.
Way ahead.
Most wide-body jets, they have 4 engines.
Right.
Why did they go with a trijet?
It was a brilliant move.
How so?
At the time, fuel prices were on the rise.
Okay.
And airlines were looking for ways to reduce their operating costs.
Right, so fuel efficiency became a top priority.
Exactly. And the trijet configuration, well, it offered a sweet spot.
A sweet spot.
It was more fuel efficient than a 4-engine jet, but it still had enough power for long-haul flights.
It was like the best of both worlds.
Precisely.
You said it was their most successful aircraft ever.
Absolutely.
Wow, so how long was it in production?
The 800 series. Over 2 decades.
Over 2 decades, wow.
It was a mainstay of airlines around the world.
A true game changer for Bowler Aerospace.
It really was.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From wartime bombers to pioneering aerial firefighting.
To groundbreaking commercial jets.
But there's one piece of the puzzle we haven't talked about yet.
Which is?
John Bowler himself.
Ah, the man behind it all.
What kind of leader was he?
He was a visionary.
Okay.
A demanding perfectionist.
Makes sense.
And a brilliant engineer.
I bet there are some great stories about him.
Oh, there are.
Do we have any insights into his leadership style from the sources?
Well, there are some fascinating anecdotes in the documentary.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
There's one story about how he personally oversaw the testing of the 800 series engines, even though he was in his 70s at the time.
Wow. That's dedication.
He was determined to make sure everything was perfect.
He sounds like a real hands-on leader.
He was.
What else can you tell us about him?
Well, he was known for his strong personality and his sometimes unconventional methods.
Unconventional. Interesting.
He wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo.
Or to push his team to their limits.
That's right. And they achieved some incredible things.
It sounds like he fostered a culture of innovation and excellence at Bowler Aerospace.
He did.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing for him, was it?
Sadly, no.
John Bowler faced some personal tragedies in his later years.
He did.
This is where the story takes a more somber turn, right?
Yes.
So what happened?
Well, his longtime friend and business partner,
Carl
Rowley, passed away in 2020.
Oh, that's awful.
And then in 2021,
yeah.
his wife passed away.
Oh, no.
These losses had a profound impact on him.
I can imagine.
It must have been incredibly difficult for him.
To deal with such profound grief, especially at that stage in his life.
It was a very difficult time for him.
And then, in 2022,
yes,
at the age of 102,
102, wow.
John Bowler was found deceased.
After being reported missing.
Oh, wow, what happened?
A note was found.
Okay.
Indicating that he had been struggling with depression.
Oh, no.
And had chosen to end his life.
That's incredibly sad.
It's a devastating end to such a remarkable life.
He achieved so much.
He did.
And left behind an incredible legacy.
Absolutely.
But it's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all can struggle with inner demons.
It's a reminder to be kind and compassionate to everyone.
Because you never know what battles people are fighting beneath the surface.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, John Bowler's life, it was really a testament to human resilience and the power of innovation.
It really is. Even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can continue to achieve amazing things.
For sure.
Speaking of amazing things, we've only scratched the surface of Bowler Aerospace's lineup of aircraft.
Right. Remember that controversy surrounding the 1670s design?
Oh, yeah, with the VC-10.
Yeah, let's dig into that a little deeper.
Oh, okay, sure.
So you're talking about the claims that it looked too much like the British Vickers VC-10.
Yeah, it's interesting because both aircraft had that distinctive rear-engine T-tail configuration.
Right, which wasn't very common at the time.
Right, exactly.
So was it just a coincidence, or was there something more to it?
Well, there's no evidence to suggest that Bowler intentionally copied the VC-10's design.
Oh, okay.
In fact, the 1670 had several key differences, including a wider fuselage and a more advanced wing design.
So it was more of a case of convergent evolution.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Like two different companies arriving at a similar solution independently.
Exactly.
The rear-engine T-tail configuration, it offered several advantages, particularly for long-range flights.
Like what?
Well, it allowed for a cleaner wing design, which improved fuel efficiency, and it also reduced noise and vibration in the cabin.
Oh, interesting. So it makes sense that both companies would explore this design approach.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was a pretty innovative configuration for the time.
It was.
And while the controversy generated some headlines, it didn't seem to have a lasting impact on the 1670's success.
It didn't.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward a bit to the 1970s and talk about the Bowler 800 series.
The 800 series, all right?
You mentioned earlier that it was their most successful aircraft ever.
Right.
And it's still in demand today.
Yeah, which is pretty remarkable for a plane designed over 50 years ago.
I know. So what's the secret to its longevity?
Well, first of all, it was a beautifully engineered aircraft.
Okay.
It was known for its reliability, its fuel efficiency, and its spacious, comfortable cabin.
So it was ahead of its time in terms of both design and passenger experience?
You got it.
And this was a time when air travel was becoming more accessible to the average person, so passenger comfort was a big selling point. It sounds like they really understood the evolving needs of the market.
They did. They were always thinking ahead.
But there's one thing I'm still curious about.
What's that?
You mentioned that it was a tri-jet.
Yes.
Which is unusual for a wide-body aircraft.
It is.
Why did they go with that configuration?
That's a great question.
Remember, this was the era of the oil crisis.
Oh, right.
And fuel prices were skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Airlines were desperate to find ways to reduce their operating costs.
They were. They had to.
Fuel efficiency became a top priority.
For sure.
So the tri-jet configuration was a way to save fuel without sacrificing range or performance.
Exactly.
A tri-jet was more fuel efficient than a four-engine jet, but it still had enough power to handle long-haul flights.
This is a brilliant compromise.
It really paid off for Bowler.
It did.
Okay, so the 800 series was a huge success, but let's not forget their other innovations.
Okay.
We touched on their pioneering work in aerial firefighting earlier.
Right, with the modified B-25s.
What were some of the challenges they faced in those early days?
Well, this was a completely new concept at the time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And there were a lot of skeptics.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What did they say?
They doubted whether it could be done safely and effectively.
I can imagine dropping tons of water from a plane onto a raging wildfire. It sounds pretty risky.
It was. But John Bowler and Carl Rayleigh were determined to make it work.
They were?
Oh, yeah.
So what were some of the challenges?
Well, they faced numerous technical challenges.
Okay.
Including figuring out how to modify those B-25 bombers.
To carry and release large quantities of water.
That's right.
It's like they had to invent a whole new type of aircraft from scratch.
They basically did.
Wow.
They had to develop specialized tanks, release mechanisms. They even had to modify the aircraft's engines.
The engines, too.
Yeah, to handle the increased weight and the demands of low-altitude flying.
What stands out to you as their biggest breakthrough in those early days of aerial firefighting?
I think it was the Pine County wildfires in 1949.
The Pine County wildfires?
Yeah, they were able to drop over 300 tons of water on those fires.
300 tons.
That was a game changer.
It really proved that aerial firefighting could be a truly effective way to combat large-scale wildfire.
It showed the world what was possible.
It must have been incredible to see those modified bombers successfully putting out those massive fires from the air.
It was a testament to their vision, their ingenuity.
And their unwavering determination.
Absolutely.
They didn't just build airplanes, they pushed the boundaries of what was possible in aviation.
They were true pioneers.
And that brings us to another groundbreaking area for Böhler Aerospace.
Which is?
The military market.
Yes.
We've got to talk about that mind-blowing stealth bomber, the B-118 Ghost.
The Ghost, okay.
Spill the beans. What can you tell us about this thing?
Well, as you might expect, details on the B-118 are highly classified.
Right, of course.
But we do know that it's a true marvel of engineering. It's designed to penetrate enemy airspace undetected, deliver its payload, and get out before anyone even knows it was there.
So it's like the ultimate stealth weapon?
It is.
What makes it so difficult to detect?
Well, it's a combination of factors,
Okay,
including its special radar-absorbent materials,
Okay.
its carefully sculpted shape,
Right.
and its advanced electronic warfare systems.
So it's not just about being invisible to radar, it's about being invisible to all sorts of sensors and detection systems.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It is, and remember,
Yeah,
this was the world's second stealth bomber,
the second.
meaning they were right there on the cutting edge of this revolutionary technology.
It's truly remarkable.
It is.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that it can go supersonic,
It can.
but that it's not recommended.
Not really.
Why is that?
Well, it's not just about risk.
Okay.
It's about the design of the aircraft itself.
So how does that work?
The B-118 is optimized for stealth, not speed. When it goes supersonic, its stealth capabilities are compromised.
So it's a trade-off between speed and stealth.
Exactly.
And for its intended role, penetrating enemy airspace undetected, stealth is paramount.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got a stealth bomber that's a master of disguise. What about their fighters?
They're fighters.
You mentioned the F-73 Hawk and the F-19 Mosquito.
Oh, right.
What makes them stand out?
Well, the F-73 Hawk is a testament to their commitment to stealth technology.
Okay.
It's one of the few stealth fighters in the world that's actually seen combat.
So it's not just a theoretical concept, it's a proven performer in real-world situations.
Exactly.
That's impressive.
It is. Tell me more.
Well, it's designed to be highly maneuverable and incredibly difficult to detect on radar.
Okay.
It can carry a variety of air-to-air and air-to-ground weapons.
Making it a versatile asset for any air force.
That's right.
So it's basically a flying Swiss Army knife of stealthy firepower.
I like that.
What about the F-19 Mosquito?
The Mosquito, yeah. You mentioned earlier that it has a bit of a controversial history.
Yes, it's been involved in a few incidents over the years.
Okay, like what?
Well, it's a very capable interceptor,
Okay.
but it's also known for being a bit, aggressive.
Aggressive.
There was one incident where a Mosquito buzzed some Aeroflot aircraft.
Really?
Yeah, it caused a bit of a diplomatic stir.
I bet it did. So they're not just defending Ediea in airspace.
Right.
They're also making a statement.
You could say that.
But what about that tragic crash you mentioned earlier?
Oh, you mean the 2004 Global Link crash?
Yeah, what happened?
A Mosquito collided with a Global Link airliner, tragically killing all 157 people on board.
157 people.
Both aircraft.
Oh, that's awful.
It was a terrible tragedy.
Was the Mosquito found to be at fault?
The investigation concluded that the crash was ultimately caused by pilot error
Pilot error.
on the part of the Global Link crew.
Okay.
But the incident did raise concerns about the Mosquito safety record.
I can see how that would happen. Even if it wasn't directly responsible, an event like that would definitely cast a shadow on the aircraft's reputation.
It did.
But despite that tragic accident, the Mosquito has remained in service for over 40 years.
Over 40 years. Wow.
Which says something about its overall effectiveness as an interceptor.
It does.
And it's also the smallest non-parasite fighter ever made, which is pretty incredible.
It is. A parasite fighter needs to be carried aloft by a larger aircraft, like a bomber.
Right.
The Mosquito can take off and land on its own despite its tiny size.
That's pretty amazing.
That's a remarkable feat of engineering.
Okay, so we've talked about stealth bombers,
Right.
stealth fighters,
Ah,
even a tiny but mighty interceptor.
the Mosquito.
But what about those unsung heroes of military aviation?
Who are you thinking of?
The aerial refueling tankers.
Oh, the flying gas stations.
Exactly. Tell me about the KC-800 and KC-1000.
Well, these aircraft are essential for extending the range and endurance of other military aircraft.
Oh.
Imagine you have a squadron of fighters on a long-range mission.
Okay.
Without aerial refueling, they would be limited by how much fuel they could carry internally.
Right, they'd have to turn back before reaching their target.
Or risk running out of fuel over enemy territory.
Exactly.
But with a KC-800 or KC-1000, they can top off their tanks mid-flight.
And stay in the game much longer.
That's right. It's like having a mobile gas station in the sky.
It's incredible to think about the logistics involved in something like that.
It is.
It's not just about pumping fuel.
No.
It's about coordinating the movements of two aircraft traveling at high speeds.
Precision is key.
I'm guessing the KC-1000, being based on the larger 1000 series, can carry more fuel.
You are absolutely right.
Okay.
The KC-1000 has a significantly larger fuel capacity than the KC-800.
Okay.
It's also equipped with multiple refueling booms.
Multiple refueling booms.
Which means it can refuel multiple aircraft simultaneously.
Wow, that's some serious multitasking.
It is.
So they've got the fighters covered, the bombers covered. What about heavy lifting?
Heavy lifting.
What kind of cargo planes does Buller Aerospace have in its lineup?
Well, for that, they have the C-12.
The C-12, okay.
A true workhorse of military transport.
You mentioned earlier that it's comparable to the C-17 Globemaster.
I did.
Which is a beast of a cargo plane.
It is.
What kind of capabilities does the C-12 have?
Well, the C-12 is designed to move massive amounts of cargo, equipment, troops.
Okay.
Whatever the military needs to get from point A to point B.
Right.
Quickly and efficiently.
And you said it can operate from short runways?
It can, even unpaved ones.
Wow. So it's ideal for deploying troops and equipment to remote locations.
Exactly.
So it's not just about hauling heavy loads.
Nope.
It's about being able to get those loads into difficult-to-reach places.
That's right.
That's impressive.
It is. And when I say massive, I mean it can carry loads comparable to the Globemaster.
That's a lot of firepower, supplies, or humanitarian aid, depending on the mission.
It's a versatile aircraft.
It sounds like it.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, from stealth bombers to heavy lifters.
We have.
But I'm still curious about those early B-25s they modified for firefighting.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty innovative.
What kind of modifications did they make to turn a bomber into a water-dropping workhorse?
That's a great question.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of technical details on those early modifications.
Right.
But we can make some educated guesses.
We can speculate.
Based on what we know about later aerial firefighting aircraft.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so first,
yeah,
they likely had to figure out a way to carry large amounts of water or fire retardant.
Right.
They probably installed tanks inside the bomb bay, or maybe even external tanks mounted under the wings.
I would imagine so.
And how did they release the water? Did they just open the bomb bay doors and let it all spill out?
I doubt it was that simple.
Okay.
They probably developed a system of doors or hatches.
Okay.
That could be precisely controlled to release the water or retardant at the right moment.
Okay, so they had to become water bomb engineers.
As well as aircraft designers.
I bet they had to modify the engines too, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Those B-25s were designed for bombing missions, not low-altitude firefighting runs.
Right.
So they might have needed to upgrade the engines for better low-speed performance and maneuverability.
It's amazing how they were able to adapt an existing aircraft for such a radically different role.
It's a testament to their ingenuity and engineering skills.
Think about the impact those early innovations had on the world of aerial firefighting.
Yeah.
They paved the way for the specialized aircraft we see today, saving countless lives and protecting vast tracts of land from wildfires.
They really were pioneers.
Okay, so we've explored the origins of Buller Aerospace, their foray into aerial firefighting,
Right.
their rise in the commercial jet market,
Yeah.
and their impressive lineup of military aircraft.
Quite a story.
But we haven't talked much about their more recent projects.
They're more recent projects. Okay.
What have they been up to in the 21st century?
Well, as you can imagine, the aviation industry has changed dramatically in recent decades,
It has.
with fierce competition from global giants like Boeing and Airbus.
Right, so how have they responded to those challenges? What kind of new aircraft have they developed?
Well, in the early 2010s,
Okay.
they launched the Horizon Jet family.
The Horizon Jet family.
Yeah, a series of narrow-body jetliners designed to compete directly with the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320 families.
So they were taking on the big guys head on.
They were.
Those are the workhorses of the global airline industry.
They are.
And they do it with a focus on fuel efficiency and passenger comfort.
Which were key differentiators in a crowded market.
So they were sticking to their core values of innovation and sustainability.
And absolutely.
And then in 2014, they unveiled their flagship 2000 series.
The 2000 series.
A family of wide-body, long-range aircraft.
Designed to compete with the likes of the Boeing 787 and Airbus A350.
Okay, a flagship series. Tell me more. What makes the 2000 series so special?
Well, it incorporates the latest in aerodynamics, material science, and engine technology.
Okay.
It's incredibly fuel efficient.
Which is crucial in today's world of rising fuel prices and environmental concerns.
Yeah, exactly.
And it boasts a spacious and comfortable cabin.
With features like lie-flat seats in business class and advanced entertainment systems.
Okay, so they're staying competitive on fuel efficiency, which is huge in today's market.
It is.
And they're not sacrificing passenger comfort either.
No, they're not.
It sounds like they're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in commercial aviation.
They are always innovating.
But surely they weren't immune to the challenges of the late 2010s and early 2020s, right?
You're right. They faced their share of setbacks.
Like what?
They had to address a significant safety issue with their 600 series.
The 600 series?
Yeah.
What happened?
It involved a faulty component in the aircraft's control system.
A faulty component?
It led to a grounding of the fleet.
Oh, wow.
And a costly recall.
That sounds serious.
It was.
How did they handle that crisis?
They took full responsibility for the issue,
Okay.
worked quickly to identify the cause, and implemented a comprehensive fix.
Good.
They also communicated transparently with airlines and passengers.
Which helped to rebuild trust.
It did.
It was a difficult chapter for the company.
It was.
But they emerged from it stronger and more resilient.
Absolutely.
It's impressive how they were able to navigate that challenge and maintain their reputation for safety and reliability.
It's a testament to their commitment to excellence.
But then, of course, the 2020 pandemic hit
Oh, yeah.
the entire aviation industry hard.
It hit everyone hard.
How did Bowler weather that storm?
Like all airlines and aircraft manufacturers, they were severely impacted by the pandemic.
I can imagine.
Air travel plummeted, orders were canceled or delayed.
Wow.
They had to make some tough decisions to stay afloat.
It must have been a very uncertain time for them, especially after dealing with the 600 series issue.
It was a challenging time for the entire industry.
But they adapted and found ways to survive.
They did. They're survivors.
Now, how did they do it?
They focused on essential operations, reduced costs where possible, and took advantage of government support programs.
So they made it through those turbulent times and came out the other side.
They did.
That's a testament to their resilience.
For sure.
What have they been focusing on since then?
They've been working hard to rebuild their business and position themselves for the future.
Okay.
And in 2024...
This year?
Yeah, just this year. They introduced the 400 series turboprop.
The 400 series?
A regional airliner designed for short-haul routes.
And this was the last aircraft John Bowler himself approved before his passing.
It was a fitting tribute to his legacy.
The 400 series, it's a testament to his vision and his commitment to innovation.
Absolutely.
So it's a highly fuel-efficient aircraft.
Designed for the needs of regional airlines operating in a world where sustainability is paramount.
It sounds like they're really carrying the torch of John Bowler's legacy into the future.
They are honoring his memory in the best way possible.
And it's not just about the aircraft themselves, it's about their commitment to sustainability.
And to shaping the future of flight.
Exactly. They're not just building airplanes, they're building a more sustainable and innovative future for aviation.
That's right.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have
Wartime innovations, aerial firefighting pioneers,
commercial jetliners, military marvels,
personal tragedies,
and a relentless pursuit of excellence.
What stands out to you as the most remarkable part of Bowler Aerospace's story?
That's a tough one.
It's a long history.
What fascinates me is how they've managed to balance commercial success with cutting-edge military technology.
Right.
It's not easy to do both well.
It's not.
But they've carved out a unique space for themselves in the global aviation landscape.
They really have.
And it all goes back to that spirit of innovation that John Bowler instilled in the company from the very beginning.
I completely agree. It's incredible how they've consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible.
From those early modifications of B-25 bombers
to the mind-blowing stealth technology of the B-118 Ghost.
They've always been innovators.
I'm curious to hear what stands out to our listeners.
Yeah, what about you? What part of Bowler Aerospace's story resonates with you the most?
You know, it's hard to choose just one thing.
I know what you mean.
But I think what impresses me most is their ability to adapt and overcome challenges.
That's a good one.
Whether it's wartime shortages,
right,
economic downturns,
global pandemics, they've seen it all.
And they've always found a way to come out stronger on the other side.
They have.
They're a true testament to the power of human resilience and ingenuity.
Well said.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about those controversies we touched on earlier.
Controversy.
We've got the design debate surrounding the 1670
Okay.
and the F-19 Mosquito's various incidents.
Right.
What do you make of these controversies? Do you think they've tarnished Böhler Aerospace's reputation?
Well, it's important to remember that controversies are often a part of innovation.
That's a good point.
When you're pushing the boundaries of what's possible,
Yeah.
you're bound to encounter some bumps along the way.
It's easy to focus on the negative,
Right.
but sometimes those controversies are a sign that you're doing something truly groundbreaking.
Exactly.
And I think that's true for Böhler Aerospace.
I think so too.
They haven't been afraid to take risks, and sometimes those risks have led to controversy.
That's the price of progress sometimes.
But they've always learned from their mistakes.
And come back stronger.
So you're saying that those controversies, while unfortunate, haven't defined their legacy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Böhler Aerospace will ultimately be remembered for its innovative spirit, its engineering excellence.
And its commitment to shaping the future of flight.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to John Böhler himself.
John Böhler. Okay.
We've talked about his vision, his leadership,
His personal struggles.
but what do you think his ultimate legacy will be?
What will he be remembered for?
That's the question.
I think John Böhler will be remembered as one of the giants of the aviation industry.
One of the giants, wow.
He was a visionary leader,
Okay.
a brilliant engineer,
Uh-huh.
and a true pioneer,
He built a company that not only produced incredible aircraft,
but also pushed the boundaries of what was possible in aviation.
his legacy will continue to inspire generations of engineers and aviators for years to come.
I have no doubt about that.
Okay, folks, that's a wrap on part 2 of our deep dive into Böhler Aerospace.
Part 2 already. Wow, time flies.
Be sure to join us for part 3, where we'll delve deeper into John Böhler's personal life and explore the lasting impact of his legacy on the aviation industry.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Böhler Aerospace. We've covered a lot of ground, from wartime bombers to stealth fighters, but what's really struck me is the legacy of John Böhler, the man behind it all.
Yeah, his impact on aviation is undeniable.
Understanding him as a person, I think it really adds another layer to this story.
Definitely.
It's easy to focus on the technological achievements,
Right.
but the human element,
Yeah.
it's just as fascinating.
It is.
We've heard about his vision, his drive, his demanding perfectionism.
Right.
But what else can you tell us about him?
Right.
What was he like beyond the boardroom
Yeah.
and the factory floor?
Well, the documentary we have, it features interviews with people who knew him well.
Okay.
They paint a picture of a man
Yeah,
who was deeply passionate about aviation,
of course.
but also about his family, his community,
Uh-huh.
and the people he worked with.
So he was more than just an engineer.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He was a real people person.
It sounds like it.
One story that stood out to me
Yeah.
was about how he personally mentored young engineers at the company,
Really?
encouraging them to think outside the box.
To pursue their passions.
That's really cool.
It is.
It shows a different side of him.
A nurturing side that you might not expect from someone with such a demanding reputation.
And he was also known for his philanthropy.
Oh, yeah.
He established a foundation that supports STEM education
That's great.
for underprivileged students.
Wow.
He believed that everyone should have the opportunity to pursue their dreams regardless of their background.
That's a great philosophy.
It's inspiring to see that he used his success to give back to the community.
It is.
It's a reminder that the true measure of a person isn't just their accomplishments,
But also their impact on the world around them.
his commitment to sustainability.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that's really resonating with me.
With me, too.
As we explore his story,
Yeah.
we touched on it earlier with the fuel-efficient design of the 800 series and the 2000 series,
Right.
and of course the 400 series turboprop.
His final project.
It seems like sustainability was a core value for him.
I think it was.
He understood that the future of aviation depended on finding ways to reduce its environmental impact.
And he believed that technological innovation was key to achieving that goal.
In some ways, his early work in aerial firefighting
Yeah.
was also about sustainability, right?
That's a great point.
It was about finding a more effective way to protect our forests and natural resources.
Right.
So we've talked about his vision,
His leadership.
his personal struggle,
And his commitment to sustainability.
but what do you think his lasting impact will be? What will he be remembered for?
I think John Bowler will be remembered as a true pioneer of aviation.
A true pioneer.
He wasn't afraid to challenge conventional wisdom, to push the boundaries of what was possible,
Okay.
and to use technology to make a positive impact on the world.
It's incredible to think about how much the aviation industry has changed since he founded Bowler Aerospace back in 1943.
It really has come a long way.
But his spirit of innovation
His commitment to excellence.
and his belief in the power of human ingenuity.
They all continue to inspire the company today.
It's a legacy that goes far beyond the planes themselves.
It does.
It's about the people he inspired
The technologies he helped to create.
and the values he embodied.
What a story.
We've explored the history of Bowler Aerospace, from their humble beginnings in wartime Ediea to their rise as a global powerhouse in both the commercial and military aviation sectors.
We've delved into the technical marvels of their aircraft
Challenges they faced.
and the triumphs they've celebrated.
And we've discovered the remarkable legacy of John Bowler, the man who started it all.
A true visionary.
His vision, his drive, and his unwavering belief in the power of human ingenuity continue to shape the company today.
His impact will be felt for generations to come.
It's a reminder that one person can truly make a difference in the world.
Absolutely.
John Bowler's story is a testament to the power of innovation, the importance of resilience, and the enduring legacy of a life well lived.
Well said.
So the next time you see a Bowler Aerospace plane soaring overhead,
Yeah.
take a moment to appreciate the incredible journey behind it.
It's a story of daring innovation, unwavering determination.
And the enduring spirit of one remarkable man.
And who knows?
Maybe you'll be inspired to take flight and pursue your own dreams.
Just like John Bowler did all those years ago.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Bowler Aerospace.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning,
And keep looking up at the sky with wonder.